I'm just going to informally discuss some of the questions. So it's okay if not everyone is here, I guess. So one of the questions that was asked is, are we looking at the bacteria population in the soil? And it is true that it seems to be a topic of interest. I don't know. Could you close the door, please? Could you close this door, please? Well, Mark, can you close the door, please? Yes, thank you. Federico, I was waiting for... Can you come? Yeah, there is one question for you soon. Maybe just the hand mic. Get the hand mic. Yeah, so regarding the bacteria, what we've been doing is looking at how the drought is modifying the distribution between the different species. So it's not so much that we are looking at the nitrogen-fixing bacteria per se. We are rather looking at how the environmental stresses are screening and selecting different strains and seeing if those strains are actually affecting the plant physiological response via their interaction at the root level, or also via their interaction at constituting the bacteria covering the skin of the berries. So those are the two focus we are trying to look at. We started working with the Burgundy school of research because they obviously have a very strong footprint coming from the microbiological composition of the soil. Now we are trying to understand under different climates what is the main strains of bacteria and see if it has a carryover effect in setting up the native population of yeast. So that's for one question. And another question was for you, Federico. And I don't know, okay, do you have a mic?
I do.
Yes, so at day 10 of fermentation, tannins are 50% coming from skin versus seed. Then there is a plateau. Is there a shift in tannin percentage during this period?
The answer is yes, it's a gradual shift though. Okay, it doesn't happen immediately. A few things that I should mention. The chemistry and the analytics to be able to measure where the tannins come from is far from being simple. Okay, so it's not something that we can actually do literally on a daily basis during maceration. Let me tell you that during maceration, particularly in terms of the way I approach whey making, certain compounds we measure them literally, every 8 hours. Okay, not with the breakdown of skin and seed tannins, but to answer the question and to the point. There is a small gradient, so I mentioned at day 10 we have like a 50-50 breakdown, 50% skins, 50% seeds. This, I guess, equation seems to be true for Merlot and for Cabernet Sauvignon. If you are asking me what happened with this equation for Pinot Noir, I'm not sure. And to answer your question, Thibaut, something that we observe is that from day 10 to day 20, in the first 5-7 days, nothing really happened, which essentially reinforced the theory that it might be the case that the seed is essentially absorbing water. But suddenly, after day 8, the percentage of seed tannin kind of start escalating. Okay, so it seems like there is a gradient, but not really between days, I would say 21 and 27. Okay.
Thank you. There was another question saying, is there specific cases in 2017 that misting saved fruit allowed sugar loading to continue after the August heat? So, so not for you. No, you said that's okay. I thought you said not for me, that you didn't see that misting. No, you're welcome. The question is about, is it effective that misting actually help sugar loading to keep smoothly happening inside the fruit? So I can take it, but you're welcome. The thing that clearly is yes, it works, no, it doesn't work, happens to be directly related with how efficient is your misting at lowering temperature. And I am aware of one case where, to start with, the temperature were not as high as the rest of the valley. We were in an area where we were in the blue during the heat wave, so around 40 degrees Celsius. And the misting system was designed to be quite effective, so we effectively lowered by 6 degrees. So basically, I saw no disruption of the sugar loading because I believe we were just under this sweet spot, 35 Celsius, above which heat is disrupting the flow of sugar. But the problem with sugar loading is that not only the heat is stopping the berry from expanding its volume and from loading sugar, the heat also drives the vapor pressure deficit, which drives the cavitation. So you have to consider two things that are affecting the physiology of the berry. You have those chemical changes relating to the flow of sugars, but you also have the piping of the plant, which can be indirectly affected by heat, since heat will first increase the tension into the water column, but will also require from your plant to sometimes triple its water use. So if you are already at the bottom of the root reservoir, asking 3 times more water simply because you have a heat wave may make the system break. And if the pipeline is not working, well, not only heat, but just fluid mechanics will prevent sugar loading from happening. So it's important to tease apart those two different phenomena. You have the physical effect of heat that stops the metabolic changes in the berries, and that can be positively affected by misting. But misting will not necessarily affect the susceptibility to cavitation. And to my knowledge, once vineyard cavitates, the sugar loading declines. So that doesn't mean that sugar loading will stop, but the flow at which sugar will load will be slowed down.